All right, welcome to this live edition of the Horse Racing Happy Hour. I am Mike Indolfo, and I'm joined as always, and definitely as always, by Louis Rabeau, the mainstay on the show. And then obviously, Ramon is not Megan. Ramon is not Rachel.
No, that's true too. Yeah, right.
Ramon, I gotta just tell you, like right out the bat, like we are taking a major drop in the looks department by having you on and not having Rachel. But you're a fine looking dude. But compared to Rachel and Megan, that usually is that classes us up quite a bit. So but we have Hall of Fame jockey Ramón Domínguez. Couldn't be any more excited to have you on here. We actually have a little bit of crossover on some maybe some connections. Two of your best horses that you rode, Have de Grace. I don't even know if I'm saying that, Louis. How would you say that? Because I know you would. Harvey de Grace. How do you say it?
That's correct. Harvey de Grace. Yep.
All right. Bloodstock agent was Tom McGreevy, and he's a friend of the show. Yep. And then you also rode Mucho Macho Man. And if you've ever been in Louisville, Kentucky, and ate at Mama's Pickles and Mustard, that's the Mucho Macho Man connections right there. So
there you go.
Yeah, good stuff there. So, hey, Ramon, just real quick, because I love these stories. Who were we talking to, Louis, in Megan's backyard? I should remember this off the top of my head.
Rafael Bejarano.
Yeah. And just the stories about how you discovered horse racing and then how you came to the United States. I find those stories just fascinating. So you were 16, is that right, when you started riding?
I was 16 when I started getting on horses, and actually at the time it was show jumpers because my parents didn't want me to race horses, so they enrolled me into show jumping school so that I could forget about race horses. But shortly after I started going to the show jumping school, I was on a bus back to my house, and there was a kid that was my age. He saw me with a helmet or with my crop in my hand, and he called me to the back of the bus. We started talking, and he was getting on race horses at a training center that I didn't know that was nearby. He told me, stop by and maybe introduce yourself to the trainers. And sure enough, the next day, that's where I went, and that's how I started getting on race horses.
I mean, fat. And then how did you transition to the United States? Like what happened there?
Because by the way, I've seen the photos. I've never been, but La Rinconada looks like one of the most beautiful places in the world. Why does anyone leave?
Louis, I'm glad you say that because it is absolutely an incredibly beautiful racetrack. Just where it's located, surrounded by these beautiful mountains. We left, at least when I left Venezuela, is because shortly after I started riding race horses, I, of course, following racing from all over the world. Right away, one of my dreams was to come to the United States and ride here. So when the opportunity arose, I certainly didn't hesitate to come and get on a plane and come to the U.S. and started joyful, at the same time difficult process of adapting to a new system. But yeah, that was part of the goal and the dream from the beginning to come and ride here.
You're already getting some love from our listeners out there. Yeah.
There you go.
So just if you have a comment for the show, be sure to leave it and we'll put them up there and give you a shout out. And we love interaction. We're on Periscope, which I guess is going away next week. I don't know exactly what's going to happen there. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, and we love your interactions. At Horse Happy Hour on Twitter is the best way to kind of get a hold of us too. So you on Twitter, Ramon, you're part of the Exacta Box, is that right? Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. With Jose Francisco Rivera,
yeah.
Not Rivera. There's no second I. So yeah, awesome. Louis speaks like 7 languages. Then he's itching to talk to you.
That's
in your
not true.
tongue.
Do you see you do those things?
Don't lie, Louis.
Well, it's interesting because the dialects of Spanish in Venezuela are different if you live in the interior of the country or if you live on the Caribbean coast. And so, I
mean, I'm going to go ahead and call this a humble brag because
no. Whoa. Because I don't know which part of the country Ramon is from, but Ramon, my best friend growing up, was from Santo Domingo. And so my Spanish is very Caribbean. And so I always wonder if guys who come up here, so like when I hear like Miguel Cabrera and these sorts of guys, it always sounds very natural because all those guys are coastal guys. Are you a coastal guy or are you an interior guy?
No, I was born in the capital, Caracas, okay. And then from there I moved to another area. So, but the accent or the dialect was about the same than in the capital. However, even though, as you say, absolutely, it does changes a lot depending on where you are. We still can communicate and understand each other very well. It's no different than here when you have a southern accent.
Yep.
Still understand the person well. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you going to start talking to him about, eating guinea pigs and stuff now or what?
They don't do that in Venezuela, dude.
No, where was that?
That was Rafa in Peru. That's different.
Peru.
Different,
okay, all right.
That's the other side of the mountain and the whole thing and the river.
Hopefully you didn't take offense to that, Ramon. I apologize right now.
So. I haven't eaten guinea pigs, but I have eating other stuff that won't be too appetizing to you guys.
Hey,
guinea pigs are delicious. That's just a falsehood. We've had them in Peru many times. They're very good. So.
All right, so let's get on to it. Let's talk about what we saw last weekend in the Louisiana Derby. And listen, I was thrilled. So the joke on the show, Ramon, is that I am a win, place, and show better. And I totally at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile bet the name Hot Rod Charlie because my grandfather, who is the reason why I love horse racing, his first name was Charlie, and he was a car dealer. That's what he did. He sold cars, Lincoln Mercury's. So Hot Rod Charlie, I was like, that's my horse. I only bet him to win though in the Breeders' Cup.
Like so 61 or whatever.
And came in second. And so that was but listen, Hot Rod Charlie looks amazing right now, right? I mean, he set the record. So what'd you all think?
I love this story, and I'm sure Ramon could speak a lot better to it. I just real quick anecdote was that Joel calls Doug O'Neill the morning of the race and says, "Hey, how do you feel about me going out front?" And Doug's response was something like, "Hey, I just train him, you ride him." And so I'm sure Ramon can speak to, that kind of trust from a trainer of such an important horse in his barn, right? Probably his best Derby contender. We'll see another one of his at Turfway this weekend, but I think this is Doug O'Neill's best shot in the Derby.
Definitely, and I love the respect, of both guys. Joel asking Doug, and Doug O'Neill's response was perfect. I actually had the opportunity through Exacta Box to speak with Leandro Mora, who is right now in Dubai. And I asked him the same question since he was the trainer, at least on paper. And of course, he's a huge part of the team. And I said, so was that part of the strategy to go to the lead? Because that's not really his non-running style. And he said, nope, we totally left it up to Joel, and he doesn't need instruction. He's amazing, and he sure is. And the horse ran amazing. I am very curious, however, to see he has a problem, a good problem to have between Concertor and now Hard Rock Charlie. So I don't know what's going to happen next.
So I'm a big believer in that too. Like, I mean, if you're going into that race, if you're going to the Kentucky Derby as a jockey, you're picking your best shot to win, right? And so I follow that pretty closely when I see jockeys decide on who they want to ride. Is that the biggest concerns, like who's going to give your best shot to get your payday?
You know what? There is the political aspect of choosing a mount for any other race because perhaps this is a perfect example. You are riding for Buffer and you're riding for Doug O'Neill. If you're in California, regardless of where you are, Buffer is an extremely hot trainer. At the same time, when it comes to the Derby, you want to win the Kentucky Derby. So you want to choose the best horse. So, however, here, again, he's facing a pretty difficult predicament because both horses, at least in their last performance, could not have done it any better. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed. I want to go back to the start. I mean, overcoming this start is pretty amazing too. I mean, it was close quarters here on the pinch.
And oftentimes in the Derby, you have to overcome a start like that, right?
Absolutely.
Especially with 20 horses at the beginning. So I agree with you, Mike. I think that's a really big positive for Hot Rod Charlie here, that not only did he squeeze through, he wanted to be out front. In fact, in previous races, that wasn't his style. And so, yeah, no, it was nice to see. And I don't think there's any doubt watching how he finished that he could get the 10 furlongs, right? I mean, he's built for 1.25 miles. So he's a smaller horse, but boy, he's compact and powerful. He should be a problem on the first Saturday in May.
No, I agree. I'm sorry. I was going to say that not only how he galloped out, but the fact is that turning for home,
right?
Watching him and watching how the other horses were getting closer, it almost seems, of course, I think it is also because what you just said, it seems that he's a small size horse, that as he was over trying to stay where he was, and I was concerned that he wasn't going to have a whole lot to finish with. And my gosh, as soon as Joel put his crop up and hit it one time, and he took off. So definitely the added distance shouldn't be an issue for him.
Right, and he didn't have to get that crop out till right before the 16th hole. I mean, that's remarkable. And so I agree with you completely, Ramon. That there was a lot to like about that run. I mean, new stakes record, of course, and he's going to be able to get the distance. It's a matter of, with the other speed in the race, as you mentioned, a concert to whoever it might be, is he going to be able to get up front and stay up front? And so, it's exciting stuff. It was good to see him do that.
Well, one horse who's not going to be there is Life is Good. Unfortunate news there. I'm just really bummed out because I thought Life is Good was looking about as good as he possibly could and was going to definitely be a serious contender. So it's going to definitely make the jockeying for these other races really interesting now that Life is Good, who looked like they was going to go to the California track. I mean, that opened up quite a bit. So, all right, let's go on then to the Fairground Oaks. Definitely wasn't an upset here, but
right.
I mean, a little surprised, I guess, that Clairiere didn't come out more. I mean, I don't know. What do you all think?
I'm starting to wonder if the previous win was more of circumstance of the trip rather than being a better horse than Travel Column. Travel Column, by the way, runs exactly the same race that Hot Rod Charlie ran in the Rebel and just gets out front and stays out front. Brad Cox won 2 of the last 3, Oaks, and so it's not so shocking that he would have a 3-year-old filly ready to go and firing over 2 turns. And so her style here is perfect in that 14-horse Oaks field where you want to be either at the front or near the front, with She Dares the Devil going out front and Serengeti Empress the last 2 years. And then before that, of course, Monomoy Girl just off the pace. When you get a little deeper in those fields, look, Clairiere's dead last year. If I own Clairiere, Joe Talamo never touches his horse again. I mean, you can't be that far back in a 2-turn classic style distance race, at least against top-notch fillies, and expect to just overcome them, especially a horse like Travel Column. And so I was a little disappointed in the ride here. I don't understand being that far back. Maybe he feels like he's not that far. I don't know, but the fractions were not fast enough to be that far back. And so a little disappointed in the ride there with Clairiere, but I think Travel Column pretty much moved herself to the top of the 3-year-old group.
Well, listen, I'm going to trust Ramon on the ride there because I think he's been on more horses than you have. A couple more mounts maybe. So, Ramon, any kind of thoughts on this race?
No, I mean, definitely the winner was the best filly for sure. And so the question that remains is, if Talamo would have tried to chase her or be closer, would that actually have cost him second? So that's the question that remains at the end of the race, because even if he was much closer, even if he was in what we consider to be the absolutely perfect spot, let's just say that where he was not the best spot. I don't really know. But the truth is, no matter what the approach or no matter what the strategy would have been, we know that that filly was not going to get beaten that day. So, right. He could have been jeopardizing finishing second.
I mean, Clairiere had to deal with a whole lot of issues, though, on this backstretch. I mean, gets bumped a couple times, got driven way outside, got cut off.
She gets cut off twice on the final stretch. That's kind of my point about being far back. By the way,
she still was driving at the end.
This is an Asmussen trainee, so to be fair to Talamo, he's not getting the mount in the Oaks. This is going to be a Ricardo Santana Jr. ride, is what Asmussen tends to do with these kinds of horses, and so it'll be probably a little bit different. But if we see her back again with Ricardo, we've heard over and over, sometimes horses just they run their style and that's where they go. And so, but I think there's a lot of validity to what Ramon said as well, in that she still got 40 points for the Oaks by running second, right? They're still going to get her to the start.
Well, she's in. Yeah.
And the point of being in this race is to get to the Oaks. And so if that's the point, then they did the right thing. And she got there by virtue of finishing second.
And we're not seeing the same thing that we do in the Derby. Winning that last prep race before the Oaks is not nearly as important as it is
correct
the Kentucky Derby. So shout out to NBC Sports, by the way. We use their YouTube videos for both of those replays. So thank you very much to NBC Sports. The check is in the mail. Okay, maybe not. All right, so this weekend, though, coming up, we have a big weekend because we have Jeff Ruby, and whether or not you believe it should or should not, because it should not be a 100-point race. corporate politics at its best right there was the reason why it's a 100-point race.
Sure.
The Florida Derby, which has been an unbelievable in the past, just indicator of Kentucky Derby success. And then we've got what's going on in Dubai, which is to me not very exciting. So,
the Dubai race and the Florida Derby are the opposite. They are both great indicators. No horse has ever come out of the Dubai Derby and hit the board in the Derby.
I'm talking about the World Cup in general, though. Right now, like there's just not enough of an American infusion for me to really be that interested.
That's you. Okay. Mischief is still running over there. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of really interesting horses running in Dubai this weekend. But Ramon, is there a storyline for you in the Florida Derby this weekend that you're trying to follow? Is there a matchup that you're watching, especially because I feel like this feels really wide open to me, even though, it doesn't feel very wide open because Greatest Honor is there. But who can finish second and maybe get enough points to qualify for the Derby feels very wide open.
Yes, and I agree with you. Greatest Honor has had a beautiful progression, and his last 3 starts have been nothing far from perfect. Now, as important as his wins or his victories have been, to me, it is also his demeanor. It is so important when we go into the Kentucky Derby, and perhaps last year it wasn't as big of a deal because there was no fans. But this year, I mean, they're projecting that there will be, even if it's a limited capacity, there will be fans. And when I say it is important for these horses to have a calm demeanor, it is because it's one thing to have a big day of a big race at another racetrack where you have a big attendance, and then there is the Kentucky Derby or the Preakness. I mean, that is huge, and it is certainly something that tests these horses mentally, so they can lose it going into the starting gate and honestly run the race before the race actually starts. So Greatest Honor, based on what I see, he has an extremely calm demeanor, and also in the race he's very easy. It seems like he's easy to handle, so definitely the horse to beat. Now, Spielberg is a horse that in his last start he ran against another amazing horse, essential quality,
right?
And that was not a good race. That was really, when you look at it and actually look at the comment on paper, the unprepared and then 5 wide trip, that is exactly what happened in unprepared. I mean, he completely missed the break, and then throughout the whole race he was wide, I mean, middle of the track. So I'm assuming that they were avoiding the kickback because it was a sloppy track, but nonetheless it was a very, very tough performance. So I'm not sure as to how he will react from that race, whether he will improve. If that's the case, maybe he's a horse that will be right there in the morning. Besides him, there is a non-agenda who ran huge last time out. Now, was it the competition because he was facing lesser competition than before? Was it the first time Lasix, which he won't be getting this time?
He won't be getting, that's right.
Or was it the blinkers or a combination? So by either way, he ran a very respectful race. And also, although it was a different time for Greatest Honor because he was still developing, he did beat Greatest Honor in his maiden race.
Right. Yep.
So, and lastly, and I'm throwing a lot of horses because,
I agree.
as you say, if you for whatever reason, let's say the Greatest Honor don't win, it's definitely who will be the one that will step up to the plate. But Collaborate is a horse that, despite having run only twice, his last race, besides being impressive, just visually as to how he won so easy. Yes, it was a maiden race, but I absolutely love. I mean, first of all, he looked like he was huge, very big horse. At least watching it on TV as I watched it, but he looked like he was galloping. His stride was like so calm compared to the other horses. I absolutely love that. He was covering so much ground and doing it with so much ease that he may be a special horse.
And that's an into mischief, right? A $600,000 purchase. I mean, that's not an accident, right? So I agree with you. The only horse you didn't mention that I keep seeing and I keep loving, and I don't know why, is the 11 Papatoo in this race. I just love that horse over a round of ground. And I'll talk about it later in a different segment, Ramon, when you've stepped off. But that horse, I don't know. It just feels like that might be the horse that comes in second and gets a spot in the starting gate in Kentucky Derby. It's pretty remarkable.
You all obviously lost me. I lost internet back here. So
you're good.
Did you all keep on going? I guess the stream was fine and everything.
The stream was great. Yeah, right. We were chatting. We were good.
I apologize for the. I apologize.
We spoke Spanish the whole time. I can't believe you weren't.
I'm sure you did. Listen, that you've been waiting to show that.
Just waiting. Yeah,
yes. Right. All right. So what else is kind of big this weekend that we want to talk about real quick? What is your thought about, a 100-point race on poly track to lead up to the Derby, as we're going to see in the Jeff Ruby? I mean, as far as an indicator of success, I guess.
This is all new to me, analyzing really a Derby prep and even actually looking at the point system, and certainly the fact that it is in a synthetic track brings up some questions as to if the horse runs a huge race, right, does that really make him a horse that is fit to run on the dirt? Or when I say fit, a horse that really has the credentials, because there are other horses that may have put an equally big effort, but for whatever reason, it wasn't a race that was giving that many points and they don't qualify. So definitely a good question, but I honestly don't know enough about it. I don't know exactly how they come up with this point system.
Well, then speak to this to me, because I'm assuming that you've ridden on synthetic. Maybe not, I don't know. And but just going from all three surfaces, whether it's dirt to turf or synthetic to dirt.
Arlington was synthetic when you ran in the Million, right? So you would have been on the turf for the Million, obviously, but you would have run on the synthetic for other races, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So what about taking horses between those surfaces? Is it the same as, like, it's how different? I'm sure it's somewhere in between, I guess, taking a horse from the turf to the dirt. It's got to be kind of in the middle.
The answer, there is no such a thing. There is a huge gray area. Let me put it that way, because yes, you have horses. I mean, what we know that now is that it is a proven fact that a lot of horses that like the turf may do well in the synthetic, and vice versa. But then you have horses who run well on the dirt and do okay or do very well also in the synthetic, and perhaps not as well on the turf. So it depends on the animal. So it's not that they have to like one if they like the other one. So yeah. All
right. And then any thoughts on Dubai? Anybody want to throw something out there that they're excited to see?
I was going to ask if Ramon if those races were a big deal when you were running. I just can't remember because I know it's the 25th year of Dubai. Did you ever make the trip for those kinds of races?
I did. I rode in the Dubai World Cup in 4 different occasions. So it was a huge deal. Obviously, it is a big purse, but also bringing some of the best horses around the world. And I unfortunately never got lucky, never won a race there. But it was also difficult for me as it is right now. If you ask me, handicapping wise, what do you see? It is easy to give an opinion on the domestic horses or the horses that come from the US, because you can see their past performances. I am not accustomed at all to other programs. So when I see the European horses, I actually had to rely on asking fellow riders as to what is this horse's style, because it was difficult to understand sometimes those programs. So that was always sort of it was not nice, because I do like to, although I am big on the ability to listen to your horse and put the horse where he needs to be after getting that feel. At the same time, I do like to go into the race prepared and kind of know my competition, know who may have speed, knows who may be coming off the rail because they're getting tired, and those sort of things. It was impossible for me to handicap.
All right, so Ramon, something about our show is that we have a ton of new to horse racing listeners, which is awesome. We love it. And they probably don't know that you won the Eclipse Award as top jockey 3 years in a row. Do you still have the record for most wins at Saratoga in a single season?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
Right. See, so these are the kinds of things. Yeah, there. So Mike giggled, but no, that's right.
Well, I mean, the other thing.
But 2 wins in the Arlington Million. I mean, that's a humble brag for sure. However, I'm doing it for him though. But just so you started at Hialeah, right, when you moved to the United States, right?
That's what I want to talk about because Hialeah, like you got into horse racing late, and so I went to Hialeah.
Sure.
And it's just one of those things. Like, first off, you're there, and Ramon was there at the end of Hialeah too, and you're like, it's like going into an old house that's been a little run down. You're like, this place could be freaking awesome. It's obviously was in like a terrible area of Miami, but it was. I mean, you just go in there and you just feel how just grand and you try to imagine what it would have been like to have been there in the heyday of Hialeah, because it's such a special place, and it's really sad that that we're not racing there anymore. So
I agree. And although it was my first racetrack, and it was, I could not compare to another racetrack in the United States, at least outside Miami, because I did know Calder and Gulfstream. I still could very much appreciate the beauty of the structure. I met my wife at the racetrack at Delaware Park. She used to exercise horses too. And shortly after, we went to Hialeah, and she is somebody who appreciates art very much, because her degree is in advertising in graphic design. So she used to take photographs. And when she saw the grandstand, the stairs going into the grandstand in Hialeah, she was like, oh my gosh, this is like a place that I can see people getting married, because it was absolutely beautiful, right. Beautiful. Yeah.
Gorgeous. It's a great place. Go ahead and finish your comment though, Louis. I had to interrupt on the Hialeah piece.
No, it's totally fine. And then you moved to NYRA and run a lot more on the New York circuit. I've never been to Saratoga. Tell me why Saratoga is great, because everyone tells me why Saratoga is great.
Yes, but I need to also talk before we talk about my transition from Miami or Florida to New York. There was a middle part that you left out, and I need to talk about it because it was for great times for me. Delaware and Maryland. So
right, yeah,
yes, Delaware. I went to Delaware in '98, and I went between Delaware and Maryland '98 for I don't know a few years, 6-7 years, and I did very well. Made great friends. I met my wife, and then eventually it was sort of that mentality that I was big fish in a small pond, so to speak, because I had a lot of business, my agent, and I had a lot of business, and counted with the support of pretty much everybody. And I love the family lifestyle there. We had a farm, and it was beautiful. At the same time, so I was sort of putting off the fact that I had to eventually try New York, and I started going over the winters to Aqueduct and doing very well. And the time came when going to New York was no longer my choice. I had to go. So I went to New York. My family went with me. I loved it there. In Saratoga, it is a absolutely beautiful, special place, because as far as racing goes, it is I don't know another place like Saratoga, because we who love the sport can go to any track and enjoy watching the races and handicapping. But in Saratoga, you don't need to be a horse racing fan or even know much about horse racing to enjoy the sport and the beauty of it. I love the open areas, the paddock, and surrounding the paddocks, all the picnic tables that people can go and have a lunch in the afternoon with their family, and also the proximity or the close interaction with jockeys, as they have to walk through the grandstand to come back after the races to the jockeys room, and you can stop and get their autograph. So that all in historic uniqueness has been preserved very well. And when you go outside the racetrack, even to Main Street, all the places are into horse racing and follow racing, and then people recognizes the figures. Oh, that's this trainer or that trainer or that jockey. And across from the racetrack is the Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, and another amazing place, which they have now a new exhibition that is amazing. So many different things to do around Saratoga that really makes it a beautiful, amazing place.
By the way, Ramon did win the Clark Handicap here at Churchill Downs. So
okay, all right.
That was one of those 2007 AP Aero, right?
AP Aero, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Ramon does have a major stakes, grade 1 actually, frankly, at Churchill Downs. So there you go.
Awesome, great stuff.
All
All
right.
right, Ramon.
Totally monopolized Ramon's time tonight. Thanks for the time.
That's
Ramon.
all right, man. We really appreciate you coming on.
It was awesome.
So
thank you guys for having me. And I'm sure that the fans or the followers are like disappointed that they don't have Megan today, but it is what it is.
We
yeah, the fans are probably liking that Megan's not here, but she's not listening, so it doesn't really matter.
That's the only reason you can say that.
Well, and hopefully our paths cross along the backside somewhere, and we'll see you and get to meet you in person. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Ramon.
Thank you for having me, guys.
All
right. So there he was, Ramón Domínguez, right there.
There you go.
So Louis,
a half hour with Ramón Domínguez, Hall of Famer. Let's go.
You like that, huh?
I do like that.
Yeah, good. Let me. So what did you do today?
I drove to the country, man.
And why?
I got my first COVID shot today.
You got your tracker.
I'll tell you, my cell phone works way better now. You got one too?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have lost that bet hideously. Where did you have to go?
It was a weak moment. I didn't go anywhere. It was someone contacted me, and one of my clients said, "Hey, just want to let you know we got an extra shot." Huh. My clients take care of me, and
yeah, they do.
I was close, and I was like, I'm gonna be doing a lot of traveling in May, and going up. This puts us, you and I had this conversation. The inoculation will basically be in full effect right as we go to Oaks, and so we're gonna be around a lot of people April, May, and
that's right.
I think it made my wife feel better, and even though
I'll be honest, like I work, with John Sherva on some stuff. He's in his 60s. I don't want to get him sick, that kind of stuff, and so
Megan wants you to.
No, that's fair enough. All right. So, by the way, Mike has been trying this. We didn't want to interrupt our guy Ramón Domínguez when he was on. So we're drinking Ford's gin tonight. Okay.
Honestly, you can say I think I may have had gin before, but I think that this could be. It was not remarkable the first time, so this is my first real experience with gin.
Right. So I poured you 2 drinks. One is in the larger cup, which you've been drinking, which is the gin and tonic.
Refreshing.
Classic drink. Lots of people. Right. Classic summer drink. And that's what I've been drinking in the larger glass.
This is the gin and tonic.
Okay.
Is that what you said?
Yes, that one. Yes. Right. And then the smaller
gin and tonic, please. Belay that order, Dana. Lagavulin neat. Clear alcohols are for rich women on diets.
There's a little wisdom from Ron Swanson.
And so the other one is what's called a gin Ricky. Have you tried this?
I did, but I didn't really.
Okay.
I like the citrus in there. So
okay. This one is heavy on the lime juice, heavy. And so the gin Ricky is essentially 2 parts gin and 1 part lime juice, or a half part lime juice, depending on how much you want it to be sort of bitter. And then you cover it in club soda so you get that effect of the carbonation. And
so in the summer, my go-to is the bourbon slush.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
So, that's always been what it was. It's you just go to the bourbon slush.
I would say that this is probably half the calories of a bourbon slush. In case anyone cares.
All alcohol though becomes
it's terrible for you.
Yeah, right. So you might as well be happy.
Oh man.
No. Actually, I enjoy these. I would drink these again if I wanted to drink something,
especially
refreshing.
Summertime for sure. Right. So a couple weeks ago we set you up with Irish whiskey before St. Patrick's Day. It's starting to get warm here.
It was like 78 the other day, right? I mean, it was legit warm.
It's gonna be like 75 on Saturday, sunny, and so it's getting to be gin season. And so
are you going to the Ruby, by the way?
Yeah, that's the plan for sure. Yep.
So you're all set, ready to go. They're gonna roll out the red carpet for you again.
No, there's no tent this time because it's gonna be freaking beautiful. I'll probably wear a hat.
All right.
Probably wear a hat, frankly. Yeah. Good.
I know you had Gulfstream first on the show sheet because I do study the show sheet.
Yeah.
But I feel like we should start with Turfway.
I disagree.
Okay, and go ahead and tell me why.
I am boring at Gulfstream and I am explosive at Turfway.
But the JV before the varsity?
I do think the Turfway card's better.
You think the Turfway card as a whole is better? All right.
For betting, I think it's way better.
All right, well, let's do this because we don't take breaks anymore. I think that taking the break on the live stream is kind of pointless. Listen, if you got questions, right now is a great time to ask.
For sure.
Any kind of handicapping question, whatever else, just
tell people what we're doing next so that they can get their questions.
We're gonna go Gulfstream. We'll go Gulfstream.
Great.
But we got you got 95 races here at Gulfstream that you got down here. So
that's the other part is I want to kind of fly through some of the earlier races.
Yeah. So let's go ahead, some of the listed stakes, for example. race 3 at Gulfstream is the Sanibel Stakes. It is a $100,000 race for 3-year-olds on the turf, mile on the turf. How did you handicap this?
I have 2 horses here, the 4 and the 5. World Tour is a second-time starter, but the 5, La Liberté, just won a high-level optional claimer last time out over Amalfi Princess. Very nice competition there. Nice horse. So 4-5 for me here because I think that the 4 has a serious chance to win second time out, but I really like La Liberté's form right now, having won in that optional claimer last time out.
That is like super fast. All right. Race 4. And this is again, so you can put together these pick 3s and all that kind of stuff at the beginning. There's a lot of stakes races here.
I have a pick 3 for races 3, 4, and 5 that I'll give out at the end of the sequence.
Great.
Yep.
So race 4 is the Sand Springs Stakes. It's $100,000 for 4-year-olds and up, a mile and a 16th on the turf.
Beat that turf up. And so
way, so you can not run in there in November, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. My top 2 here.
Did a redhead just walk in? What's
somebody's walking around. Yeah. Right. My top 2 here are the 2 and 3. The Feel Glorious is 4 out of 6 all time at the distance, runs in this kind of company all the time. That's the 2 horse here. Part of a blanket finish last time with Honey Fox, last time out of Gulfstream Park. So she's ready to win again, in my opinion. The 3, Sweet By and By, is getting IRAD, who, by the way, this is not a made-up stat. I checked it twice. Is hitting at 48% with Saffie Joseph Jr. right now. That is absurd. So
holy cow.
2 and 3 are my must-includes in race 4.
Wow, that's getting it done.
It's an absurd stat.
All right, the last pick of this pick 3 sequence is the race 5, which is 7 furlongs. It's the Sir Shackleton $100,000 race for 4-year-olds and up. It is a 7 furlong sprint on the dirt.
Yeah, I have a few more notes here just because I think people will know the horses here. Basin is in this race, the 7. You'll know him from his participation in the Derby Trail last year. They tried him at longer distances over 2 turns. He was trained by Steve Asmussen previously. He's in the Pletcher barn now. His best results are over 1 turn, and so he's going back to 1 turn here. It's a big layoff. He hasn't run since August, but Pletcher's putting him in a $100,000 race for a reason, right? The Sir Shackleton, instead of trying him at a grade 2 or something like that. The 1, Yodel E.A. Who, which is a terrible name for a horse, and that person.
Come on now, unless you're like a Sound of Music fan.
It's terrible. So this horse has already actually run really well twice this year at Gulfstream Park. I worry about the post position, though, because this horse is a really balanced runner. Not going to be super fast out of the gate. There's a horse immediately to its right in the 2 spot who's going to get ahead of him and force him to move outside on the turn. I don't like it, and I don't think he can do it. I'm leaving the 1 out here, even though I think he's 3-1 on the morning line. The 4, Frosted Grace, ran well without Lasix last time out, is running without Lasix again here, should be a factor in this one. Ran a near best career high speed figure without Lasix.
And a grade 3.
Major drop in jockey class here, though. So I'm worried about that, but I'm going to include the horse because I think just sometimes in a sprint, you can just get the horse to go. Town Classic is the 8. This horse has run 20 times in second place in its career. This is an 8-year-old gelding. But
that's our horse right there.
But we add IRAD. I like that a lot. I'm going 7-8 in this race. So my pick 3, starting in race 3, is 4-5, then 2-3, then 7-8. 50 cents is $4. I would consider
that's a great.
Or try it for $2 for $16, so that if it does chalk out, you still get a good return on it.
No love for Shivery, huh? Shivery's kind of the same thing as Basin, not really a 2-turn horse going back to the 1 turn, right?
I don't disagree. I think Basin's a better horse, and I trust the connections more.
I definitely agree with that. So, but Shivery's also a name I think a lot of people would recognize in this race.
Absolutely. Yeah. If that's what you're talking about, then 100% you're correct. Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to race 6, which is the Appleton Stakes. So we do get a grade of stakes here. Grade 3, it's a $100,000 race for 4-year-olds and up on the mile turf course here. And Louis, who did you like here?
All right, so I like a 20-1 morning line horse here.
Louis long shot. Louis long shot.
One of many today. So 7 is Forever Mo. I also like the 8, Seismic Wave, which is a Chad Brown IRAD combo. So what's interesting here is big layoff on the 8, but this is where you bring this horse back into grade 3 and not in something higher. But I love the long odds in the 7 because these are the 2 late speed horses in this field. I think the other 6 horses in this field are just going to be up front going too crazy, and they're going to tire out, and we're going to get one of those 2 horses to clean up the mess at the end. And I do actually think that Forever Mo could be that horse.
7-8 Exacta Box, maybe?
I don't know that both of them get there, so I wouldn't do that, but I don't hate the idea of going across the board on the 7 for sure, because I do think he's going to be in the mix.
Win, place, and show on the 7. I like it. 20-1. I gotta remember that one. So wherever I am going to be on Saturday, I don't even know where I'm going to be Saturday,
Right.
but it will be somewhere where I can place a bet because I'll have my TVG account
somewhere west of here. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Race 8 is the Go Sapper Grade 3 Go Sapper Stakes. Purse is $100,000 again for 4-year-olds and up, and this is a 1.125 miles on the dirt.
All right,
and we got a Star Wars horse, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to go against him, and so I'm going to try to. I have a couple of singles here actually at Gulfstream. I'm going to single up with the one Last Judgment. Dominates at this level as far as class, and I expect him to return to that 103 buyer form with Jose Ortiz back aboard. Best buyer ever with Jose Ortiz. He's back aboard for this race. I'm really hoping that combination hits again, and so I'm going to try to shorten up in race 8 and single the one Last Judgment.
Is this a Grade 3, by the way?
No.
Okay, there you go. Race 10 is our next one. Is that right? Yeah.
Someone's watching for the first time and is like, no, it's a Grade 3. See, it says right here.
No, it is a Grade 3, but we always say it's a legit Grade 3. Right. And to be fair, the reason why I think I asked that is because
we're singling Last Judgment.
Well, no, but Last Judgment's been in some big spots.
It's a nice horse. He's a nice horse, right?
But it's been in some big Grade 1s.
Yep.
And so, is he a really Grade 2? Eye of the Jedi wasn't a Grade 2 last time out. Has been in a slew of Grade 3s and had success at the Grade 3 level. So it's, but then I think, you start looking at the rest of these horses, you got some people who have smattered in some Grade 3s, and King Slew had some Grade 1s over out of the country. And I don't know if that's the same. So, but the rest of it's kind of just, there's not a whole lot of depth, I guess, to that field.
Correct. Race 9, we're not going to talk about. It's an optional claimer. Chocolate Bar, the 5 is running in that race. Don't leave that horse off your tickets.
Race 10 is 1.5 miles. Louis loves 1.5 mile turf races.
It's true.
Pan American Stakes. And this is a Grade 2, 4-year-olds and up. What do we think here?
Feels like a Grade 2 for sure. I'm a little chalky here. I am going against Sadler's Joy again, just so everyone knows Sadler's Joy is the 3. He's not on my ticket. Frankly, I don't love Temple the 2 either, who is a 7-2 horse here. I am interested in a slightly longer odds horse, Moon Over Miami, the 7. Second off the layoff here. Ran a game third last time out with no Lasix in a Grade 2 at Gulfstream Park. I do like the 1 here as well, which is Cross Border with Tyler. And so I'm going to, if you wanted to go real short here, I think 1 and 7 are the 2 plays. Moon Over Miami is a Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado combination. They're hitting at 23% right now. And so those 2 for me are the plays. Mike Maker, Tyler with Cross Border on the 1, and then the 7, which is Moon Over Miami, Junior Alvarado, Bill Mott.
The 1 Cross Border actually hit the board last time out in a Grade 1.
Right.
So not a bad. Sadler's Joy hasn't won a race since 2019. I mean,
it's just at some point you have to not bet that horse. Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's where I'm at. That's just me.
100%. I'm with you. And I like the Moon Over Miami pick. 5-1. That's a pretty good.
If that number stays there, there's another
one. A good price.
That's another nice price. Yep. I agree. Because those first 3 horses at 1, 2, 3 they're gonna attract a ton of money. So you'll get a price.
The 11th race is the Cutler Bay, which is a $100,000 race, 3-year-olds and up. Mile on the turf, and by the way, I'm still a little mad at you right now.
Okay,
because this is a day that I used to go to Gulfstream every year. Why are you mad at me? Because you besmirched the card. So I love Florida Derby Day.
Whoa! I said betting card.
Okay, betting card.
I would much rather be in Gulfstream this weekend than standing next to the Tapeta in Florence. Don't worry.
All right. So who do you like here in the 1 mile Cutler Bay?
All right. So I'm going to take a serious risk in this race and single.
Oh, all right.
Because this is an early in the year 3-year-old 1 mile turf race. A lot can happen in these races. I think Annex is your single here. I love everything about this horse as far as how I try to handicap 3-year-old horses.
Very consistent in his first 2 starts out, right?
Jockey trainer, the speed figs, the closing speed numbers. I think it's kind of a gamble, but I'm going to single Annex the 6th in this race and just see if I can't start the late pick 4 in a way that's pretty affordable, because I think you can get really, really cheap in the late pick 4 here. Because I think there are massive singles at the end of the card too, and I think you're going to have to spread like crazy in race 12.
Well, race 12 is what we're going to talk about. It's Gulfstream Oaks. So Grade 2, $200,000 race. And we have Oaks points on the board here. Yes.
Yeah. 100 pointer. Yeah.
100 points for the Oaks.
So here's the deal. Pletcher is taking a shot with Cone Lima, who he's been running on the grass. That should tell everyone everything they need to know about this race and this field. It stinks. This is the worst 100-point Oaks field that I can remember. It's been a while.
Wow.
For that reason, give me a long shot in this one. Tepid long shot. The 2, Bow Bow Girl for Dale Romans, 4th start ever, Corey Lannery. This filly is able to stay off the pace. She'll be the closer in this race. She won't win the Oaks with that style. I get it. That's not what I'm trying to go for here, is to pick the next Oaks winner out of this race. Rather just to win here. And so I think 8-1 on that horse. Give me that. I'm going to spread like crazy in this race because I don't know who can win, because I think Cone Lima can win because of the field, but I don't know that she will. I don't think she's ever routed on dirt. And so I just, I'm really, really wide open in this race. There are only 7 horses. Like if you told me competitive speed one, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. She ran 3rd in the Devona Dale and she came back and ran better. Okay. And
so who won this race last year?
The Gulfstream Park Oaks was won by, I don't know. Was it the 4th place finish in the Oaks?
Swiss Skydiver.
Oh, she did. No kidding.
Yeah, Swiss Skydiver won this race last year.
Which race did Swiss Skydiver win last year? All of them. Good answer.
Well, except for the Oaks.
Except for the Oaks. Pretty incredible. There you go.
Yeah, and actually, the Florida Oaks is not, the Gulfstream Park Oaks has not been a great indicator in the past for the Kentucky Oaks.
I'll be honest, that's why I didn't think of her, because I just assumed that she wasn't in there, but Kenny just sent her everywhere last year. It was awesome.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. So then we're going to move on to race 13. And we have the grade 3, the Orchid,
right,
which is a $100,000 race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf. So here's your other route marathon style race here on the turf, Louis.
Yeah,
this one for the girls. Who do you like here?
So I gave you a single in the 11 in the Cutler Bay, excuse me. When you make out your pick 4 ticket, spread in the 11 a little more than just the one horse I gave you, but include him for sure. Annex. I got a single here too. I'm deep in singles at Gulfstream Park. This is why I warned you.
The odds here are not, I mean, they're all over the place too.
Always Shopping is in this race. She's 8-5. She's the 9 horse. It's IRAD. This is your single. Just do it. Just do it. Walk away. Take it. 3 or 4 lifetime, 94 speed figure at Gulfstream Park. Just walk away. Smile that you get to single here. Use a couple horses earlier. By the way, if you followed my singles here, by the way, because I'm giving another one in the next race, you could have a $3.50 pick 4 and play all in the second leg.
Well, and in this case, like Always Shopping's there, and then it drops all the way to 4-1, 5-1. Then like everyone else is 8-1 or better. So, right. I mean, I think
the other horse I really like in this race is Belle Laura, the 8.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay,
because I thought at 8-1 that horse is really attractive.
I happen to personally love Edgar Zayas' style. He and that's Juan Avila, who is the top trainer at Tampa, but they hit it 19% and more or less right around the 20% together. Belle Laura is a really nice horse. She always manages to be right there with blanket finishes. I do not find her to be in the same class as an Always Shopping, though.
Okay, there you go. Well, then let's get to the main event, which is the Florida Derby, the Curlin Florida Derby, by the way, by Hill and Dale Farms.
God, I hadn't noticed that. Okay.
At Exalpa. This is a grade 1, $750,000 race, 1 mile and 1/8. I think you and I would both agree that this is not a grade 1. Because it's greatest honor, and that's pretty much it, right? I mean, Spielberg maybe, but I'm not in love with Spielberg.
Was it a couple years ago? Was it Booger McFarland that said that Louisville's football team was Lamar Jackson and a bunch of dudes?
Yeah.
This race is greatest honor and a bunch of dudes, and that's okay, by the way. The Florida Derby is supposed to have a champion that is worthy of being the best horse in the Kentucky Derby. I have 4 horses up top for an exotic play. Greatest honor is obviously the class of this race. Nova Rags is the one in this race. He finished a length behind Candyman Rocket in Tampa the last time out. He has serious speed. I think he can hit the board here. Spielberg the 10. I love how Ramon talked about that horse because he is mega talented, but he is all over the place. And if he gets the proper run, he should finish in the top 3 again. I think he runs second here, and I think that's how he qualifies for the Derby, and they do run him. I mentioned it to Ramon when he was on the 11. Papa 2's 15-1. I don't think he wins, but I think he's in the top 3. And so I'm going to do a little trifecta key with those 4 horses, the 7 with the 1, 10, and 11. I might even try a 7 over the 10 overall kind of trifecta because I think it's possibly chalks out that kind of way. Now that I've done all that handicapping and talked about it that way, only non-favorites are going to win, and like everything's going to be double digits. And welcome.
It's going to rain.
Yeah, right. The pick 5 is going to pay $65,000, and it is what it is. Yeah. So.
All right, so let's do a little pick 6 action out at Turfway Park.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get into right off the bat. Was it race 6? Is that where we're starting at, Louis?
By the way, I just wanted to say about Turfway. I made the comment about being in Miami and not in Florence. I'd rather be in Miami. That's not a thing. But the other day I was in a Twitter conversation with a couple of guys, and I made a comment like, "Oh my gosh, they gave us a horse at 6-1 in an 8-horse field," and that's how spoiled we are at Turfway. That I think an 8-horse field is small. I mean, they're doing a great job up there,
right?
And I mean, no, for a betting product, it's really hard to beat Turfway right now.
No, it's fantastic. I mean,
right.
and as it should be, and I think they're doing a great job. So we're going to start at race 6, Mono 16th. This is the Rushaway, and $100,000 race. And again, Mono 16th on the synthetic because that's all we got.
That's what we got. All right, I'm giving out a long shot here, and it's not because of the name, but the 4 Extra Sexy Big Daddy. He was slower than molasses his first 3 starts. Then he moves to Turfway. He exploded. He loved the surface. So look at the times that other horses ran in their races and match his up, and they are really similar. And by a general rule, Turfway's times are slower than other tracks. So I love that his times match up in that way. He went to the front, stayed out front in breaking his maiden. He's 10-1. This feels like an all kind of race to me. So in other words, that means I love a horse like the 4 extra sexy Big Daddy. So go ahead, win place show on him, especially if that number stays 8 or higher.
There you go. All right, the 7th race is the Latonia, which is a neighborhood up there.
Yep.
By the way, got friends in Latonia.
There you go.
Shout out to Katie and Woody.
There it is.
This is a 1 mile and $100,000 race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up.
So trainer Mike Maker has clearly been planning this race for the 2 Ujayi, who has been working at Turfway Park and has run her last 2 races without Lasix. And so Maker and Martine Garcia, who's flying in for this weekend, hit it 18%, and I think she's super classy amongst this group. Now, Maker also has the 7 Evil Lynn, and if you follow her, she won the Hilltop at Pimlico at $100,000 optional claimer at Churchill Downs. She'll be pushing the pace, so I don't love her on synthetic, because at Turfway Park, you need to be able to close. So if the Maker horses, and I mentioned this because he's doing so well at Turfway, I like Ujayi better. But I feel like a longer shot here that has a chance is the 8, Kynense, who threw it a clunker last time out as a heavy favorite, but won 3 straight at a mile prior at Turfway Park. Hammond and Bermudez are actually hitting at 29%. So if a local horse wins this race, it's going to be the 8, Kynense.
And what about if the 14 gets in on the town? On the also eligible list.
I apologize. I have to pull up the.
That's all right. That kind of really on the town. Shug, Drayden Van Dyke. I mean, really good speed figures.
Totally.
But
I have not watched horses translate well from Laurel to Turfway Park this year.
Right. And this is, I don't think this horse has ever been on synthetic.
By the way, welcome back to Kentucky, Drayden Van Dyke. This is kind of his introductory weekend coming back to Kentucky because he's got several reasonably important mounts this weekend. I think the play would be Skygaze, the 13, more than the 14.
Gotcha. Okay. Skygaze, by the way, 6 starts on the synthetic, has won 4 of them and came in 3rd another time. So
2 for 2 at Turfway
pretty
Park.
Good.
And the speed figures aren't overwhelming, but it's because of the company the horse was running in. So don't, the horse, if it doesn't have to overexert and win by 50, the horse is still winning by 3 lengths, even with the 74 speed figures. So don't get too caught up in that at Turfway Park.
All right, we got the Animal Kingdom is race 8. It is a 6.5 furlong sprint. Who do we like here?
So this is the follow-up. This is sort of if it didn't work out in the Battaglia because you couldn't go 2 turns, this is your fallback race.
Why is there no field pass stakes? That's what I want to know.
It's an important question. So that's the problem. Like, we would get the money together to name something the Horse Racing Happy Hour Stakes, and I would name it the Field Pass Stakes instead, and you guys would hate me forever.
The Field Pass King Guillermo Invitational.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so this is a possible single here with Set Piece, who's the 2. Won the Prairie Bayou in December for fun over Signalman and Visitant.
Hold on. The 2 is not what I have in the Animal Kingdom as set piece.
Sorry. What am I doing?
I just want to make sure we don't mess people up here.
What race am I in here?
Race 8.
Apologies.
I think you skipped one. You went on to race 9. So race 8 is where we're at.
I did skip one.
Yeah.
I think I
did you skip a handicapping?
No.
Okay, good. Well, then who do you like in race 8?
I wrote my notes under race 9. I did race 8 first, actually. I looked for singles on the Turfway Park.
Sure.
So the 1, Pico d'Oro, won at 6 furlongs at the highest level of allowance, optional claiming at Turfway Park mid-December. Shipped to Aqueduct to run in a grade 3, finished 3rd in a blanket finish at Aqueduct. This is a classy horse. Almost a graded stakes winner, if we think about it that way. Tried him in the Battaglia, not cut for 2 turns. That's okay. This is the time to find out in your life if you're made for 2 turns or not. Turfway Park know heads, as I refer to them. They know that Bill Morey and Santiago, the jockey, are hitting at 32%. I feel really good about Pico d'Oro at 6-1. Knowing how we're going to get more public money this weekend, so hopefully that number stays up there. If this were purely the Turfway crowd, that horse would go off at like 5-2.
Okay.
Outador is the 3. He's 2 for 3 on turf. They tried him on dirt, and it's no dice. Hit the board in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. That is a mega classy horse.
Yeah,
so
wow.
3. And the 9 is El Sobre Viviente. It's an interesting local shooter. I'm going to shorten up, go 1 and 3 in this race, because I do think you can get. I think there's a serious chance Pico d'Oro wins here. I think he's made for this surface. I think he's ready to go. Outador, though, is super classy. And so both of those horses, I think, have a really significantly good chance to win here.
Outador, by the way, is the 4, not the 3. Just
thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So 1 and 4.
Obviously, my children were climbing all over me today. But yes, the 1 and the 4. And there you go. Sorry.
And then race 9, you said, in the mile and the 8th, the Twin Spires Kentucky Cup Classic.
Yeah.
$150,000 race here. A mile and an 8th, like I said. Set piece is the horse, huh? Frenchie.
Yeah, I have 2 other horses.
Frenchie and Brad Cox.
2 other horses I do want to talk about.
Sure.
Set piece did win the Prairie Bayou in December. Over those 2 horses I mentioned, Signalman and Visitant. Also won the highest level of optional claimer at the beginning of December. Ran a nice grade 3 at Fairgrounds in mid-February, so appears to be in good form. This is the start of the pick 4. You could shorten up here if you want to.
You like Finnick the Fierce. Come on, man. There's actually some horses in this race.
If you want another horse, the 6 Finnick the Fierce is a nice entry and a nice price at 4-1. I think there's a chance that Rafael Bejarano has a big day. He was awesome yesterday. I mean, just awesome. So if he's really on his game, there's a real chance. I think he sees his opportunity to get back in the Kentucky Derby this weekend. This is the warm-up races for that, and so I expect him to be in top form.
Close parfaits in this race. I mean, you got some
There's
names
some serious for sure.
Yeah.
That's right. And it also shows you
Crafty Daddy.
So Crafty Daddy's a nice horse. I was actually going to mention the 13 Cullum Road at 20-1 if he draws in from the 13. Chris Landeros is hitting at 25% this meet, and trainer Doug Danner is sneaky good at 17%. They tried him at 1 turn on March 10th, but that now looks like they were simply just stretching his legs for this one, in my opinion. Last time in a mile and a 16th, he beat Royal Mesa and Lanier, who are 2 of the better horses at Turfway. So the 13, if Cullum Road draws into this race, a heads up, he will absolutely be in my tickets.
All right, there we go. So we're going to then move on to the Bourbonette Oaks.
Yeah.
What do you think about the name Bourbonette?
Well, it was the Bourbonette for years, and they just added the word Oaks to it to kind of tie it to the Kentucky Oaks. I like the term Bourbonette. It's fine with me.
All right. $150,000 race.
You anti-Bourbonette?
1 mile. Is there Oaks points? Is there Oaks points on this thing?
This is a 20-year. Yep.
All right, 20 Oaks points. The Derby, the male race gets 100 Derby points, but this only gets 20 Oaks points. So, what are you thinking here?
All right, so I'm including 4 horses here.
4 horses.
The 6, the 7, the 8, and the 10. I like all of the local shooters, but it's impossible to overlook the 8. Adventuring, which is a Cox trainee and a Florent Giroux ride. That's also a Godolphin horse. I think they think this is their way to get that horse into the Oaks. And so I would look for Adventuring along with the other local horses that I like here. The 6 is, you back, okay? The 6 is California Lily, who has won at the highest level at this track, at the distance, just short of that, I should say. The 7 is Into Vanishing, which is the Chris Landeros, Jonathan Thomas combination, which hits right now at 60%, 6-0.
Whoa.
That's kind of heavy. And then Candace O is the 10. And when she's not arguing against rappers in a political forum, she's also a very good racehorse. And that's a good joke. And Rafael Bejarano rides.
I don't know who Candace O is. Who's Candace O?
Candace Owens.
No.
No?
Who is
Okay.
that? Who is that? Seriously, tell me who is it?
She's a black woman conservative.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
And she does, but she's willing to do like forums with like Killer Mike and people like the TI and like people like that in front of before COVID, thousands of people, and she's very much a heterodox thinker for that group. So
Okay. All right.
I'm surprised you don't know who Candace Owens is. Huh.
I don't. I just don't. I don't spend a whole lot of time
No, I get it.
focusing on that. So.
Yeah.
So race 11 is the Jeff Ruby Stakes, grade 3, $250,000 race, 100 Kentucky Derby points on the line for the winner. And, obviously the top 2 horses in this race are going to have a really solid chance to get in. Well, they'll have enough points to get in. And we're going to see, Gretzky the Great try to take another chance here. Who else do we like? Hockey Dad? Who do you like here? How about Gretzky the Great and Hockey Dad being in here together? I like that.
There you go. I'm only including 6 of the horses. Tarantino is one of them. I love this move for Tarantino.
Yeah.
2 of 3 lifetime on turf. Tried him in 2 dirt derby preps. Simply didn't work out. This is the best route to the Derby for him, and he's absolutely a contender for me here. The other 5 horses I have, it feels a little bit like the Rebel. I'm including the top 4 of the Battaglia because I think the top 3 are absolute possible winners here. So that was
Hush the Storm.
That was Hush the Storm and
Like the King. Yep.
The 9 Hard Rye Guy, and I think if you went back and watched that race, you know that this horse had tons of trouble. Just tons of trouble. Finishes 4th by 3 lengths. So he was actually the best of the rest, if you will. Ridden by Chris Landeros that day, who's jumping on Gretzky the Great for this one, which is very interesting. And if I were Chris Landeros, I would do the same. I think it's a reasonable move. And then I am going to include Hockey Dad, who is shipping in for Doug O'Neill, because I think that if you don't include Doug O'Neill Derby prep horses, it means you're not paying attention. And so I have 6 horses for this that I'm going to include in longer tickets: 1, 2, 7, 9, 10, and 12. I think the most likely winners are Tarantino, and then Hush of a Storm. And I actually I like the King better than I like Gretzky the Great here.
Did you have a pick in race 12, even though it's a main special weight, or no? The pick 6 ends with the Jeff Ruby, right?
The pick 6 ends with the Jeff Ruby.
All right,
and it is a mandatory payout, by the way.
Oh, mandatory payout.
Yeah. So there's actually something going on there, and I did not check it today. I'll be really honest, just because I was doing this, but if there is a growing pool, but it was over $70,000 last time I looked at it, so it could get pretty substantial.
And they're allowing fans, right? I mean, we're COVID. No, they're not allowing fans.
They don't have a facility, man.
Oh, no, what am I thinking? Yeah, it's not done in the construction side yet.
There will be some at Gulfstream. It's ticketed, and you like. Have you been to do Gulfstream? I can't remember.
No.
Okay,
I was all.
It's the chairs are very fixed at the new Gulfstream, and so I imagine that you're like, there's 2 here, and then a space of 2, and then 2, and it's Florida, so it's going to be less than other places. But no, at Turfway, the construction entrance is where. There it is. There's Brian. Yeah,
Brian's wants to know who's my win place. Listen, even though it's 3-1, like I'm all over Tarantino here. Although, man, Hush of a Storm at 4-1 is really, really sexy.
Nice number.
That's a real nice number. I'd probably go. And so what I do with this is like I say, okay, 4-1, I might go $5 or $10 across the board on a horse like Hush of a Storm, and but it would be between Hush of a Storm and Tarantino for me as well. So I think those are. And if he's gonna make me choose, I'd have to go with Hush of a Storm just because he's 3 for 3 on synthetic. I mean, I don't know how you.
No, that's right.
You turned it, you just don't have that kind of.
He is
data.
wildly, convincingly good at Turfway. He just is. Right, I agree with you.
So that would be my pick. I'm going to go Hush of the Storm, $10 across the board, and enjoying my Forged Gin. I'm almost done with my second one. I gotta drive really far tomorrow, Louis. I mean, I gotta.
The good news is you're going to be very hydrated because there was a lot of not gin in these drinks.
Oh, okay, good.
So
what else?
So honestly, you're a bourbon guy. Almost no gin in your life.
No gin, no real clear alcohol in general. By the way,
give us a general letter grade of how you felt about these drinks. And so let's give it proper context. It's June 15. You and I are
sure.
It's hot. We're not drinking these in December. I get it, but June 15th, it's warm. What's the letter grade for these drinks?
Well, I think the easier way for me to do it is like, what would I choose instead? So Would I still take my bourbon slush?
Sure.
I would still take a fruitier, like a margarita.
Okay.
Something else like that. I'd still prefer something like that.
Would you rather have a light beer than this?
I would say they'd be equal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. The citrus one, the Ricky, is that what you call it?
Yeah, Gin Ricky. Yep.
I take the Ricky Bobby. Yeah. That's what we'll call it.
It's an old scurvy drink.
Yeah. I would probably do that over a light beer. Although I do like it when my melons turn blue and have a little Coors Light action. You know, that is my light beer choice.
You do like your bullets, yeah.
Is the Coors Light. I mean, I would give it a C plus B minus.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't spit it out.
Right.
But it's probably not something I'm going to order at a bar.
Bourbon's an A to B, Ryes are an A plus, and you know, I think this is kind of like the rye of clear liquids, right? It's kind of got like a different kind of mouthfeel and taste to different things, and so I definitely, my grade's definitely higher for gin, but I like clear liquors as well. So
I guess my other point would be like, you know what would I? Because I don't drink a ton. I know that might surprise people. So if I'm going to drink something, I want it to maybe accompany a nice meal, and I don't know what I would eat with this.
You wouldn't. No, that's right. No, you wouldn't. This is golfing. This is, you know, something like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, then at that point, then it's like, what cigar would I pair with it? You know, so.
In your case, not many that you enjoy, but ones that are in my humidor for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The ones that are for rich women on diets.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, I just kind of want to say for the late pick 4 at Turfway, while I'm really spread out at the end, remember, I do think set piece can be a single. Oh God, am I mixing this up now? She was in the race 9, right?
Yeah, set piece was race 9. You're right.
Yep. So in race 8, I think 1 and 3 are the only horses you have to include here, and then 4 horses in the Oaks and 6 horses in the Ruby. And I haven't done the math on that, but if I do it quickly in my head, it's probably $30. That's a pretty playable pick 4. So, and especially if you hit a price in the Ruby, like say, I don't know, like the King comes in, or you know, I'm looking at the Florida Derby. Good Lord, you know, Hockey Dad comes in or something. Like
Hockey Dad, yeah, 12-1, right?
Right, 10-1 on Hockey Dad. Like he comes in, that could really pay, right? So that's the kind of thing. You know, you play that $30 ticket. Then you know, Hockey Dad comes in, you're looking at many hundreds. So yeah.
All right, what about Dubai? What are you looking at in Dubai?
I didn't
say like handicap. Anything you're like interesting, just interested to watch and see. Or are you gonna pay attention?
I will watch it. I will not bet it.
Yeah. Right.
I learned my lesson in Saudi Arabia. Megan once in a while will text me a horse that she thinks looks really good, and I'll put a show bet on. That's about it.
A show bet.
I get panic picks from the Arabian Peninsula from Megan.
That's a humble brag. If you want to go just like enjoy like a beer and a cigar, and you just want to do something that's, you know, doesn't require a whole lot of brain power at the track, there's nothing better than doing like show bets and just see how far you can roll it over and how many of those show bets you can win, and just keep on rolling the whole thing over. You know, get you like where you make $150 show bet. You know, it's fantastic. So, are you a fan? Which one of these drinks do you enjoy the most?
Oh, I love Gin Rickies.
Okay,
I do, but I'm with you. So by the way, when I have a gin and tonic, I put a touch of orange juice on the top.
Okay.
And it just changes the drink significantly. I forget. I think it's called the Golfer's Delight. I can't remember. But the Ricky though with the lime juice, I love tart, citrusy things, and so yeah, it's not so shocking that I would enjoy it. Okay. It's also a drink for an old man, and so
and now that you're over 40.
It's not even that. Like I liked old man stuff many years ago, cigars and boxing and horse racing, and you know, yeah.
Are you mentioning like you notice that the beards got trimmed up and all that kind of stuff?
I noticed. Well, yeah, we're friends on Facebook, so you know. I mean, I know your life because you're a little too public about things. But
I am not. Come on.
I don't know why you live stream you getting dressed in the morning. It's weird. What are you doing, man?
Well, listen, I got fans. So there's everyone all those Megan feet pick fans. They come over. You know.
Megan's back next week, by the way. If people are wondering.
Yes, I may or may not be on. Right. If I might make an appearance, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what's going on. I'll be here, of course. I got nothing.
And Louis never leaves. So
that's pretty much it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We're going to pay the tab. We're going to get out of here.
Thanks to Ramón Domínguez, by the way.
Ramón was awesome.
Massive Hall of Fame shout out. We appreciate it.
And we really appreciate having a Florida expert and then just an unbelievable Hall of Famer, just jockey, just incredible person. So that's awesome. And Louis, I will see you soon. This has been Oh, you know what? I gotta get the music ready to go. Hold on now.
You only have to do it twice now. Come on.
I know, and so I totally forgot about it. You know? Yeah. There we go. This has been the Horse Racing Happy Hour.